Welcome to this week's edition of the Truth Podcast.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to another episode of the Truth Podcast. I'm your girl, Blessing Iyogun, and of course, here with me we have
Mary Augustine. Welcome to the Truth Podcast today. It's a good time to have you here again with us. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for joining us. As usual, welcome.
I'm sure people are wondering who this handsome gentleman is between the ladies. We'll go right into what we're talking about today. Today we have a very, very interesting topic. We're talking about forensic readiness in Nigeria.
Yes.
I'm sure all of you guys are wondering, what's forensic? Why do we need it? Why are you guys so serious
how
today?
did you get
yes.
there?
But to do justice to this topic this evening, we have Mr. Geoffrey Okolorie. I hope I didn't murder that surname. That's
Okay,
Mr.
so welcome,
Geoffrey
Mr. Geoffrey
Okolorie.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. So
Thank
good to
you.
have you in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
My
So
pleasure,
Mr. Geoffrey
yes.
Okolorie, program coordinator for the upcoming APCON conference.
Yes, so there's a conference coming up. I'm sure you're all wondering, what is AFCON all about?
Yeah.
That's the Association of Forensics Professionals in Nigeria, to which he is the program coordinator for this program. So, Mr. Geoffrey, let's talk to you now. Over
Let's
to you.
meet you,
Tell
sir.
us about yourself, basically, and why forensics. What made you delve into this field, basically? Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much again. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to be here, talking about forensic, because this is something that I'm very passionate about. So just to give you a little background about myself, I've got my first degree in microbiology. Thereafter, I went into studying medical lab, so as to be a medical lab scientist. So I'm a certified medical laboratory scientist.
Wow, interesting.
But again, it's interesting to know that I'm not practicing any of that now, because after my training at the hospital, I got a job with a law enforcement agency.
Okay.
And I chose getting into forensic, which is basically what I do now. So I'm fascinated by forensic. Again, I draw my inspiration a bit from what I did when I was studying medical laboratory science, because basically what you do in the lab is investigation,
Yes.
and forensic is also investigation. So that part of something quite interesting. So
Yeah,
there's
so
a
you didn't
relationship.
really do away with your with
Yes.
microbiology. Instead,
Yes.
it enhanced
Yeah.
what you're doing right
Yeah.
now, your interest, basically.
Because in both fields, you go to be analytical.
Yes.
So it's about finding fact, and drawing inference from the data that that you have found.
Okay, so you're talking about facts, data. Sir, please, what is forensics?
So-
Tell us what forensics is
Yeah.
all about, the aspects of forensics. What is forensics?
Right. So there are various definitions of forensic, but on a general note, forensic has to do with adopting scientific methodology in investigation to answer questions regarding legal matters. So for me, I would say it's just something like science plus law in a way. Okay, so just trying to throw some light on it. There were times when people die, then they will get sick over and over, and they would say it's Ogbanje or so and all that.
Yes.
But at some point, based on scientific findings, we got to know that if people are one of these people who die, that's a result of being sickler. So you have both parents, AS, and they get married. Eventually, one of the child among four of them, if they have 4 children, turn out to be a sickler. Okay, so the person gets sick over and over, and after a while, the person dies. That knowledge came as a result of scientific research.
Yes.
Okay, so just giving you an idea. So science is something that is based on experimentation. It's based on collection of data. Hypothesis is developed. The data is tested. Based on the data, the position is taken, which eventually turns out to be a theory. So when we talk about forensic, we are saying we are adopting science in investigation to collect data, analyze the data, and make an inference based on the data that have been collected, as against just forming an opinion, as against just what we are used to. So this is what makes it's a more credible way of investigation. So
you get the facts.
Of course, you get the facts.
Like you talked about the legal court and all that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So collect the fact, do the investigation, and you make a presentation of your findings. So in a nutshell, we say forensic is the investigation of civil or legal matters, adopting scientific methodology.
Okay. Let me just digest that a little bit. So you can see how interesting this actually is. Investigations, inferences, results, and evidence, basically, that you could even be used in court of law to prove a whole lot of things. That's really beautiful.
Okay, we'll just go into the second question that we'll have to ask you. How has the technology advanced in forensic right now? Like from where are we coming from and where are we right now?
Especially in Nigeria.
Yes.
Right.
Where were we coming from and where are we right now?
Okay, so before now, the most of the investigation, say forensic investigation, that used to be that were done then, were done using manual tools in doing them, But now we've got a lot of solutions and tools, depending on what field of forensic, that we can adopt technology in doing them. And what happened is that what has happened is that it's now more efficient. The rate of accuracy is more. There's more precision because these tools are designed to be much more intelligent than human interpretation.
Yes.
You understand? So human interpretation, there are limitations. There is a limit to what your eyes can see. But when you use a more enhanced tools, it helps you to see clearer. So now we're adopting more and more scientific tools in our investigation, and that implies that we're getting better results, in our output. It's to the extent that even artificial intelligence is now integrated in most of the solutions in investigation. So that's where it's going at the moment. And on a serious note, a couple of organizations are identifying those tools and adopting them in their investigation.
Well, I think they deserve a round of applause. That sounds good, but let's not just end. I like to believe that there are challenges, especially in the Nigeria factor and all that. So let us know. You have said all these good things where it seems like we're there, but are we really there? What are the challenges that we're facing right now? Yes.
Right, there are a couple of challenges, but again, most of the organizations that are doing forensic are actually making progress in terms of where they have been and where they are now. And there are also some of them that I'm aware of that are making progress. Reasonably, I think the EFCC has a very good forensic forensic laboratory at the moment, and there are still one or two other agencies, that are also doing well regarding for forensics, at the moment. So there are challenges. The challenges are very enormous. As a matter of fact, I've made presentations in conferences regarding challenges, and I can just number them at my fingertip. One of the challenges is that forensic is quite expensive. Expensive in terms of the tool, in terms of training. It's really, really expensive. So for any agency that hopes or that is already into forensics, they've got to make budgets for training again, and also for the tools, the solutions. Training has to be up to date because your training can be obsolete based on the machine that is currently being used. So and machines out. Can be also obsolete. So these are the things. So forensic is really, really expensive. The other thing I've also seen is that in some of the organizations that I know, the wrong people are sent for trainings, which hasn't been really good. So this is where some organizations training are considered as a patronage to people. So not really, the training is not given to people who are actually going to do the work, but rather people that are in my good book. So
yes, exactly, which is another Nigerian factor.
Yeah, which is a Nigerian factor.
Yes.
So people go for training, come back, and they're not using
they cannot,
exactly.
And they can't impact or replicate what they have learned to the other people.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this is part of the problem. The problem also, again, I would say, is the problem of light, power.
What?
Really?
Yes. For some organizations, sometimes power can be a
Preserve
problem.
the evidence or what?
Sometimes it's processing. For
Okay.
example, if you are doing digital forensic investigation, sometimes for some organizations, or agencies like we know in Nigeria, it could be a problem for them to be able to sustain power during the processing period. Yeah, it happens. It happens.
And that could drastically affect the evidence,
No,
or just slows down the process.
It wouldn't affect the evidence. It wouldn't affect the evidence, but again, it's going to affect the turnaround time.
Yes.
You understand
yes.
when the result is
come out,
given.
yes.
Given. Another challenge also is the challenge of sometimes leadership, policymakers understanding the value that forensic bring. Sometimes it can also be a problem to design policies that are geared towards facilitating and improving forensic. So that can also be a problem. That is also a problem by extension, can also be from the legal officers, even the judiciary, where the level of awareness is very minimal.
Yes.
Okay? So if you go to court and you make a presentation, a forensic investigation presentation, the judge is not under obligation.
Really, especially when it comes to crimes like rape,
no obligation.
so many
no obligation.
that you really need a lot of forensic.
It needs to understand basically the logic behind the presentation. You understand? Otherwise, it may be difficult for a judge to accept the evidence.
Talking about awareness, you just mentioned about awareness now. So let's just dive right into the conference. Actually, there's a conference coming up end of the month. It's a conference on the forensic professionals of Nigeria. They're having a conference end of this month. So we're just going to dive right into that aspect of this podcast. So now, what is the importance of forensic readiness?
Yes, the importance of forensic readiness cannot be overemphasized because we are living in a dynamic society, and that implies that even crimes, the trend of crimes are changing, right? So more so, we are in the age where AI is becoming the end thing and all that.
True.
So the question is, as crime is metamorphosing into different forms and all that, what's the extent to which the law enforcement, is ready to investigate crime that would come as a result of that? I mean, we know of virtual reality and all that, and I've read papers where the things that happen in virtual reality are said to impact people physically. It's virtual, but it's affecting people,
mentally,
physically,
yes, in many
psychologically.
ways. Like, yes.
So the question is, how do you investigate such things if
Very tricky.
they are stipulated to be crime and all that? So the forensic readiness is a very important subject of discussion, considering also the level of awareness of forensic in Nigeria. So to what extent are organizations ready and what are they doing? So this conference is designed to have people come together, look at what are we not doing right, what do we need to do to make sure that we are at par with the level of crime committed. Because again, if crime is not investigated, then we can't guarantee having a safe society.
Yes,
so this is
safe
very important
Nigeria.
and critical.
Actually, to hit it running, I also want to ask that, what are we looking at from this conference? What are we looking at from this conference? What are the things that, if I participate in this conference, what do I stand to gain? What do I stand to earn? What do I stand to see? What do I stand to hear or learn from this conference?
Right. So this conference, the theme is Forensic Readiness in Nigeria, okay, which is organized by the Association of Forensic Practitioners of Nigeria. Right. So this conference is very critical because the aim of having this conference is basically create awareness of forensic in Nigeria. And again, look at creating an environment where professionals will come to interact. So if you're coming for this conference, one of the things that is very sure is that you're going to be more enlightened. If you're in the field already, you're going to interact with people who are in other fields of forensic, and as well as even the field where you are. And you're going to see some of the research work that other people have done, where they are, what they are doing, and all that. So basically creating awareness and also creating that environment to interact with people who are in the field, who are practicing, not just people who read articles, or people who just have, degrees in forensic without having a practical knowledge.
Experience.
And that practical is very critical, because that's where the capability, the skill would come in. So this is very important. So awareness is one, enlightenment. You could get educated, okay, and you also that social interaction amongst those who are really in the field.
So can we get at least a couple of speakers that will be there? Can you tell us at least one or two, speakers that we should look out for,
right,
that we feel will be there at the conference?
Right. I'm not really mentioning their name, but I know
the agencies or your partners and all that.
We have one of the subjects that's going to be discussed there is the forensic in Nigeria, the UNODC perspective.
Okay, UNODC will be
there.
UNODC. Oh, that's beautiful.
Office for Crime and
Drugs and Crime.
Yeah, so this
Did
is
you
very
guys
important.
hear that? ODC, they will be there. I know they won't come alone. They'll come with their mics and other professionals.
We're also expecting presentation from the Nigerian police.
Oh, beautiful.
As well as the military.
Okay.
Yeah, we're expecting that they will show up at the conference. And other, people, from different,
private sectors,
academia,
individuals.
yes, legal, judiciary and all that. So it got across all the stakeholders.
Wow, that's
the forensic
beautiful.
investigation we're hoping that they would all be in this conference, especially the fact that UNODC is quite committed to ensuring the success of this conference.
Wow, so what are we all waiting for? This conference is coming up on the 24th and on the 25th of September 2024. It's happening at Yaradua Center by 8 a.m. You don't need to miss this conference for anything. There'll be valuable discussions, as he has said. There'll be meaningful networks, and of course there'll be a whole lot of fun, time to mingle, refresh, fresh knowledge and all that from renowned speakers, people that are veterans in their field with wealth of knowledge. They'll all be there at this conference. Like, I'm looking forward to know a whole lot about forensics. Can I be part of this association?
Yeah, you can. The thing again, I like to add.
I think we should just add it. And we should, put it as a question: who should attend?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So before I answer who should attend, I'd like to mention the fact that there's also a presentation that we'll hope would have in that conference, and that's going to be on artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow.
These are the guys who are championing artificial intelligence in Nigeria.
Oh.
But based in the UK. Is going to be making presentation on it. So if you're also
young, old, you need to be part of this. Gen Z, Gen Millennial, whatever, you need to be part. AI is the in thing, so we need to be part of this. Yes.
And also, in part of his discussion, we're going to be looking at what are the challenges associated with AI as it relates to forensic. And that's amazing.
Really amazing.
Really
amazing.
Group of people that need to be there, it's everybody, as a matter of fact. Everybody. Everybody should be there.
Everybody open for everybody.
Because forensic touches on everybody. It touches on every aspect of life. If you look at branches of forensic, it cuts across every sphere of life. But most importantly, I think those in the judiciary need to be there. Those in the academia needs to be there. Those in the law enforcement they just need to be there. Those in the military need to be there. So professionals, also the vendors, even those who are engaged in selling forensic products need to be there. The students need to be there. Those who are also thinking that they can take up a career in forensics also need to be there. So literally everybody needs to be there. The policymakers also need to be there, because if the policymaker do not approve the fund for the right tool, for the right training, then we ain't going anywhere. So it's also important. Everybody needs to be there.
Wow, so it's for everybody. I'll be there. I don't know about you, but I know after this podcast, surely you will be there. So like I said before, it's happening live on the 24th and on the 25th of September at Yaradua Center, Abuja. So just try and be there. So it's been amazing having you, Mr. Geoffrey. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And we celebrate you for what you're doing in this field. Honestly, we see the impact, and it's only going to get bigger with more awareness, and we'll have a secure society. So at the end of the day, that's the goal, to have a more secure society. Thank you so much for
Thank
this honor.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, so we can reach you. We'll give you our. I hope you're following us on Instagram, on social media. Of course, this will also be on the association's handle, so you can go there, watch. Above all, be there. We look forward to seeing you. I still remain your girl, Blessing Iyogun.
And Mary Augustine.
Thank you, Mr. Geoffrey.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
so
having
Or
me.
do you have any last thing
Last
you want to
thing
say?
to
Oh, okay. I think that for people who have been hearing about forensics and people who get fascinated by CSI, what is CSI? I think it's high time that you connected to forensic locally in Nigeria. Some people wonder if there is really forensic in Nigeria, and I make bold to say there is forensic. So this conference offers you the opportunity to know more about forensic in Nigeria.
Wow.
As we discuss forensic readiness in Nigeria by the Association of Forensic Practitioners of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a lovely
Have a
night,
lovely
everyone.
night and
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you.